Bonjour. Hello, Lana. So, today we are going to do something about Group 1 verbs that is going to blow your mind because we are used to the traditional way of conjugating Group 1 words, whereby we know the endings and also the root of the verb. For instance, the verb parler. How do you know the root of the verb parler? When it is an ER verb, how do you know that? Yes, you just remove the ER at the end, then you remain with parle. That's what we call the root. In French, we call it le radical. There are some books that call it la base. So, there is something that I want you to know about Group 1 verbs, the ER verbs. Because this one, if you don't know it, you'll have problems when you are conjugating this kind of verb that I'm going to show you. So, look at the French verbs. If you find a French verb that ends in G-E-R, do you know any? Yes. Like which one? A verb like manger. Can you say manger? So manger means to eat. Yes. It ends in G-E-R. From what you know is that the ER verbs which end in ER in French, they are regular verbs. But if you look at a verb that ends in GER, there is something about it. So let's look at what is in it. So normally, when you are conjugating verbs that end in GER, when you are conjugating verbs that end in ER, you usually take le radical, which is the root, then you add the endings, which is la terminaison. Is that right? So, for je, now that you have the root, you just add an E. For tu, you usually add an ES. For il and L, you usually add an E. Is that so? Then let's look at the plural part. Nous, usually add an ONS to the root. Then for vous, you add a EZ. Then for il and L, plural, you usually add an ENT. Yes, that's what usually happens. But now look at these verbs that I'm talking about that end in GER. There is something that happens when you reach the plural of nous, first person plural nous. So, when you reach at nous, you don't add an ONS alone. You add EONS. So instead of saying nous mangeons, it will sound like that. Yes, nous mangeons. You say nous mangeons, nous mangeons. Because if you don't put that E after G, you'll change the pronunciation of the whole thing. So it will sound like nous mangeons instead of sounding like nous mangeons, which is right. So when you are conjugating, it will be je mange. Yes, je mange, I eat or I'm eating. Tu manges. Yes, tu manges, you're eating. Il mange. Il mange, elle mange. But now look at nous. You say nous mangeons. Look at the E. There's an E, then O, then N, then S. Then vous mangez. You retain the original way of conjugating. Then at last, il ou elle mange. Have you seen the trick? Yes, now just concentrate at the nous. When you see the verb that ends with GER, concentrate at the nous. That's where the trick is. Instead of adding ONS, just add EONS, and that will be it. And that will apply for verbs that look like manger. Do you know of any verbs that look like manger? Like which one? Yes, like changer. Changer. Changer means to change. Nager. Nager to mean Yes, to swim. Then ranger, ranger. Ranger means to arrange, yes. Then we have voyager. This is common. Voyager, which means to travel, true. Then partager, partager, which means to share. Yes, this just shows you that French, if you want to know French or to understand French, you just have to learn the tricks of the language. That time I told you that if you go to a battle or a war and you don't have the right tactics, then you just lose because of the tactics, not because you are not committed to the war. So, before we end, I have a quiz for you. Could you, Lana, conjugate for me the verb rédiger? Rédiger, yes, you'll tell me what it means. Conjugate déménager, déménager, corriger, corriger. Yes, then exiger, exiger. Yes, so to recap, let's just say that when you reach at the nous point, the plural of the first person, just remember that these verbs that end in ger, instead of adding ons, you just add e or ns. That's where the trick is. The rest of the thing remains the same, but at the nous, you change to e or ns. Then you'll be there. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.